Hello there, I'm Stephen Michael King. I just am adding this little Band-Aid patch to our initial first video recording of many different ways of integrating a wide variety of energy medicine and energy psychology techniques. Until such time as we learn how to work with the sound level, I'll be using a little microphone placed there until we can get the microphone to be more sensitive for our stuff. Now, energy medicine and energy psychology relate to the use and application of manipulating subtle energy. So you're talking about manipulating photons, ions, electromagnetic fields, acupuncture systems, and so forth. I've been involved in this research in this area, in this field, working with doctors, scientists, and others since the 1970s. And I've done a lot of experimenting with hundreds of thousands of different dollars worth of different kinds of live imaging using both blind and double-blind situations, having people work on water, plants, animals, as well as people. And I wanted to see what was working the best, especially when people didn't believe that they could actually manipulate energy. And so in doing that, what we learned is how to make different energy systems stronger and how to integrate them together. So that way, whether you're into Reiki, pranic healing, Omega, Agni-Dhatu, Huna, any of the different energy systems where you're flowing energy, we teach you how to flow it much, much more powerful. If you like doing the tapping kind of systems, such as what is seen in EFT, behavioral kinesiology, we show you how to combine the tapping and how to make it a whole lot stronger and how to do it both direct and in an absentee or non-local situation. We also explain what happens that makes the different techniques work and what the details are. That's the difference between somebody who's really good versus someone who's just, you're getting absolutely incredibly awesome results every time. So let's just talk a little bit about that. When you see a technique done, it's one thing to do the technique, it's another thing to explain the technique. So I'm going to very briefly show a couple different techniques, and then you'll hear me explain the techniques, the other part of the audio, in an introductory fashion. Then you'll notice that there are a bunch of series and mini-series where I get into great detail. So what's important to understand is that when you're manipulating energy, you want to always have more energy coming in than going out. You can bring energy in from the top part, the crown, which is a finer vibration. You can bring energy in from the lower part, such as the base of your feet, the base of the spine, which is a lower vibration. You can bring energy in between, such as the throat, or in one palm, for example, and out the other. That's more of a medium vibration. You want to match the level of density with what you're working on, just like you would match the colors or the sounds, for what the application is. So when you're seeing, for example, a pranic healing technique or a qigong technique where they're sweeping, what we're doing is we're imagining energy coming in, for example, through our crowns, out through our palms or through our fingertips. You'll see broad sweeping from above, going downward, where we imagine ourselves being underneath a waterfall. For example, if it's psychological or mental or emotional stress, it'd be bright electric violet, which looks like lavender with a tinge of or it looks like lightning with a tinge of lavender. So this is one example of sweeping. Here's another example, clearing the crown for clearing intuitive areas, clearing around your forehead chakra and your ajna. This is higher clairvoyance, lower clairvoyance. And we're imagining an energy glove around our hand. And when we're doing it, we're imagining reaching into the head and pulling stuff out like it's mud or like it's algae. When you see out our fingertips, we can be digging, we can be scraping, we can be twirling, we can be doing all sorts of like tingling movements, massaging movements where we're resonating, making it a field, contract and expand. Contract and expand, which creates more coherency. When you're seeing tapping done, the ways to make tapping stronger, there are 4 things that you can do to make it stronger. The first is, instead of tapping dirty energy in, you want to imagine that you're sparking energy going outwards. So it's kind of like hitting and pulling upwards with the hit. The next thing you can do that makes tapping a lot stronger, and this can be 10 times stronger or more, is simply by doing it bilaterally, meaning left, right, left, right. Anytime you're doing bilateral stimulation, it shifts how things are registered in the brain, it shifts how things are registered through the nervous system, it shifts how things are registered through the acupuncture system, and it shifts how things are done in the field. For example, a quick tapping down the body will also go ahead and we will include flowing energy out the fingertips and out the palms. And we will imagine things like saying something in our mind, such as clearing whatever we need to clear in order to think clearly and focus clearly. And in addition to that, we will also be doing things to make it stronger, such as imagining pulling energy down or pushing energy downwards, using our energy coming out our hands like a fire hose or a water hose, depending on the application. So tapping very quickly bilaterally, here's how it looks. You start at the center, you go down. Your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth to connect your front and back acupuncture meridians. Breathing fully in and out. You think of what it is you want to clear. Right, left, right, left. See how I'm doing it? I'm sparking. Now, when I get down to here, I turn my hands in this direction so that I can flow energy out my fingertips as I imagine pulling the wetsuit or dirty energy down and out. And you'll see I'm going down the midline. I break the energy and or I throw it into what, if you can see, there's a bowl of salt water down there. The idea is you want to take the chaos pattern, which is what scientists call dirty energy, chaotic energy, disease energy. You want to remove the chaos pattern from your field. So we have videos talking about different forms and different ways of tapping. We're going to have different videos that talk about different ways of sweeping to manipulate energy. So you can see I'm spinning the chakra, looking at it from above, counterclockwise to cause it to spit out energy. I'm pulling the energy out, I'm inhaling in through my crown, and I'm pushing out with the exhalation. The way that you make any sweeping stronger is you bring the energy in with the exhalation, and you flow an increased energy flow rate with the exhalation. These are gone into in a lot of great detail. Now, I've asked my computer guy to scroll to talk a little bit about the difference between what happens electrically, photonically, and with the body, the difference between sweeping versus tapping versus, we show over a dozen techniques in the number 4 part of the series where it talks about manipulation of hand movements. And this is really, really important because it's in the details. When you see people moving objects, and we'll teach you how to work starting with incense, smoke, and candle flames and stuff, it relates to how you're focusing energy, how you're flowing energy, how you're programming the energy. It's in the details that makes the biggest difference. So this part here should be added on to the first part, and this should flow into the video. That's the first intro video now. Okay, go ahead and stop the tape.
Next video will show some components in a little bit more detail. Essentially what you'll see me doing is you'll see me coordinating my breath with hand movements, removing what scientists would call a chaos pattern or what regular people would call negative energy. You'll see some tapping or some bilateral stimulation. Whenever you do bilateral or multilateral stimulation, whether visually, auditorily, kinesthetically, or better yet, combined, it gets much, much stronger. You'll also see principles of pranic healing and qigong incorporated and supercharged to be much, much stronger than how they normally are. And I'll explain the different exercises as they go. So this is designed, this first thing, we'll do a little thing for about 8-9 minutes that just sort of summarizes, and then I'll show more details. So before I do anything, when I'm removing anything I want to clear, I focus on what the topic is. It can be as simple as stress energy, or it can be something detailed that may require what in energy psychology we call referential statements. So the first thing I do is sweeping. Since most healing is not energizing, it's cleansing. So what you do to make pranic healing and qigong much, much stronger is you coordinate your hand movements and any colors with your breathing. So if you're working on stress or say PTSD, the color we work with would be bright electric violet. That's the wavelength that works on emotional. So if you're in a hurry and you're doing the self and you have to be done in a few seconds, what you do is you cleanse from the top down, and yes, you can cleanse the front and back at the same time and the sides. You do it with your breath. So you imagine being under a waterfall of beautiful, blinding electric violet light, like beautiful liquid light force. You inhale the energy in through your crown. And the first level you exhale out would be the forehead chakra and the back head chakra. Feel how see how I do my hands? You pull the energy out. You imagine your fingers are extending deep inside. Put a glove around your hand the same color. Inhale, exhale. This is intuition, higher clairvoyance. Next level down, lower clairvoyance, will. It's your brow. So inhale, the crown, exhale. You're clearing the sides. Inhale, exhale. So it's a push-pull. Inhaling with the breath, pulling with the hands. And you're clearing the throat center, areas dealing with auditory stuff, negative self-talk, mental clarity. Inhaling through the crown, exhaling out the front and back, throat chakra. Heart chakra stuff, inhale, you can do front and back, exhale. We also do secondary heart points, very, very key. The brachial plexus chakras, which are located halfway between the nipple and the collarbone, right here. Inhale, exhale, push the dirty stuff out. And what I do is I imagine the energy kinesthetically as well as visually, and auditorily I'm instructing clean soul energy in, and when I'm exhaling, I'm instructing to extract, expel, and to clear whatever needs to clear for me to be able to be functioning optimally and properly, or whatever the other phrase is, and I prefer to keep it in the positive. So solar plexus, which is where most stuff is, inhale, crown, exhale, front and back solar plexus. When you see me spinning a chakra in a counterclockwise direction as looked at, that is so that the chakra expels. So inhaling into the crown, exhaling navel, inhaling through the crown, exhaling sex center. Inhaling through the crown, I do the secondary basic chakra points, which are right here with the leg joints, the same points that you would push to stop bleeding in the leg in a first aid situation. And the basic. And for better grounding, do the knees. Exhaling out. I do the front and back. Do the ankles. You can do one inside and outside. Inhaling, exhaling out the other, or you can do both at the same time. And the feet. Inhaling in, general sweeping out. The next thing that's really good to do, in addition to cord cutting, bringing cords together, cut, pulling out, etc., and so forth in the softball. Again, synchronize with the breath, inhale energy in, push the cords out by the roots and so forth. When you got the roots, go ahead, cut them, plug them into a power source. Next technique is a way to rapidly make EFT, behavioral kinesiology, or any kind of tapping work better and faster. You do that by, number one, combining bilateral stimulation, just like you would do EMDR. Number two, instead of tapping the energy in deeper, you imagine you're sparking it outward. And number three, as your hands go down the body, you imagine like you're pulling a wetsuit off of the body. So it looks like this. You think of the trauma, you start at the top, right, left, as I'm doing, down the center line, down the inside of the legs, to the ankles, along the big toe, out. And I'm shaking my hands, snapping the fingers to break the energetic connection. Second pass, a little bit further out. See how I'm turning my hands? I'm flowing energy into my crown, out through my fingertips. Imagine pulling a wetsuit. See how alternate tapping? Bilateral stimulation. All the way down, tops of the fingers, done. Outside, down. When you get under the arms, it's like doing a balloon, back and forth. Outside of the ankles, down. If you can, you do the back, your back, down the center. If you're not able to reach, pretend your arms are extending. Alternate tapping in between the vertebrae. Going between the legs, middle part, down. One more pass, a little wider. Again, I'm flowing energy out my palms and fingertips like a hose. And the outside. When you want to do the arms, which is a little stronger as well, if you're doing it yourself, you could take your thumb and your pinky, you just tap inside and outside, taking the trauma, going down the meridians. Next techniques I want to cover are multilateral figure eights, some finger exercises, and some additional techniques that relate to moving the hands up and down the body. We're going to do that on part 2 of the video to keep it simple. This way you can follow along easily. Each of the individual things I'm doing a separate short video so that you can see, and then we'll post additional links as appropriate. Thank you, and namaste. Look forward to part 2.